speaker started at West Jefferson High School under Hank Tierney, recorded 20 sacks as a junior, was a first-team All-State selection, played in the U.S. Army All-American Bowl after his senior year when he was named first-team All-American at LSU, played from 2005 to 2008, was part of a national championship team, and spent time with 11 different NFL teams, including the New Orleans Saints, played for the Arena League New Orleans VooDoo as well. He now works as an analyst on the LSU Radio Network, has done high school games, and is a great friend and a good man. Please give a warm welcome to Big Fave, Marlon Favorite. Marlon?
Hello, how y'all doing out there today? Where should I start? Well, thank y'all so much for having me today. Congratulations to the winners and recipients. Y'all keep up the good work. That's really good. I wish I had a GPA like that when I was in high school. Close, but you know, no cigar. But anywho, thank you to the Greater New Orleans Foundation for having me. It's always a wonderful time. The food was delicious. Bless the hands that prepared the food as well. And I'm just thankful. So, last few years I've been with John Curtis and De La Salle and during the high school games of the week, and I was blessed and fortunate enough to get an opportunity to do the LSU games. Wasn't expecting the season to go like this. I always tell people all the time, there's a silver lining in every dark cloud. So I know y'all probably have a few questions about what I've seen, what I've experienced around LSU in the last few weeks. It's been great. It's been a difficult post-game talk, obviously, having to answer a lot of questions about what's going on and why it's going on. So just thinking about this LSU football season and the players that's in the program, it's a great program. It's a great team. The last 2 weeks I've been going out there a little earlier just to talk with the players and talk to some of the coaches and just to get a feel for the game and what's their thoughts. And it's not talking down on LSU at all. It's actually just finding out exactly what's going on up there. What I see a lot of right now is just a search of identity. And it doesn't really have anything to do with the talent that's there or the coaching. I think it's an amazing coaching staff. I think that Coach Matt Canada is a great offensive coordinator. Coach Ed Ogeron has a great opportunity having a head coaching job that he's longed for, and he's a great recruiter. And also the defense is doing, coaching staff is pretty good as well. So I'm still puzzling myself. I'm looking at scores, right? And we beat BYU, of course, 27-0, game in the Superdome. Everyone's excited, and it looks like the Tigers looking pretty promising. And then we go on to Chattanooga, and we beat them. Well, they come down here 45-10. And then it's time to get into real SEC play. What the Mississippi State game taught me more than anything else is team chemistry. You can tell that Mississippi State team went out there, the defensive line, they did a tremendous job up front. Simmons did put pressure on Ellington the whole night. And I really thought that game was the first real test for LSU. It was a road game. They had an opportunity to go out there and just see exactly what they have and prepare for SEC play. So they lost that one badly, and I'm like, whoa, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. Thinking of the old LSU, we usually play Mississippi State, and like Coach JT was saying earlier, getting ready for the Capital League, that's basically like getting ready for the SEC. Every week you're gonna have to show up. And when we got to Syracuse, and the final of that score was 35-26, I was like, okay, I see what's going on here. And I started to think, I started to look into things, and I'm starting to say, something's different with the culture around here. And I was walking and I ran into to one of my old coaches, and we were just talking, and I was like, he confirmed some things. I was like, well, Coach, what's going on? He said, Fave, it's a little different from when you were recruited here. I can remember being recruited at LSU, and I said this yesterday on Gus's show for y'all who might have listened, it being about winning and having good teammates and having the opportunity to play in really great BCS games. That was told to us. There was a winning tradition around LSU. I don't remember a lot of individuals on those teams we played on back in 04 and 08. A lot of team players. I mean, guys grew into individual roles. We had All-Americans, but it wasn't about that. It was more about team unity and everyone working together as a team. And I don't see that around there. The last few years, I just really hadn't. playing in the NFL, bouncing around, and as I was coming back, and of course coaching over at De La Salle, I would from time to time go over to LSU just to see what's going on, and I started to see information technology pick up, right, guys? Information technology and superstars, and you read about us in the paper. If you're fortunate enough, Mr. Ed and Coach JT would talk about you. But nowadays, it's more superstars, more individualism, and you started to see that. So one thing Coach was telling me was that started to happen in the recruiting process as well. The conversation, the language changed from come to LSU, be a good team, win, to hey, we have 50 active guys in the NFL. Come to LSU, go to the NFL. And I think using that as a tool to get guys to come there started the 3-and-out deal. It's almost like baseball. Hello, 3 strikes you're out. And that started to be the culture with the players. 3 years and out. So when you don't have enough time, I can remember Glenn Dorsey staring at $20 million. Like, whoa. And looking at LSU, we got a good team. And deciding to come back for a senior year. It's not happening nowadays. Guys are running to the money, rightfully so. I understand, it's a career, it's something that you want to do. But that's not the recipe for winning games. Recipe for winning games is consistency, team leadership, team guys, team chemistry. Chemistry plays, we have some coaches in the building, they'll attest for me. Team chemistry plays a major role in winning. I don't see that around LSU right now. So, before, I got tons of tweets about, let's get Ogeron out of there. I can remember back when Coach Miles' first year, that's the year Hurricane Katrina hit, and we lost to Tennessee badly. They came back out after 21 points down, and the next day it was get Coach Miles out of there. But later on, the man came back and won 75% of his games. So I think Coach Ed Ogeron deserves that same chance. He's a great coach. Of course, you guys know him. He's a Louisiana native, and he's a good guy. But he's dealing with, I call it the 2012 rule. Once that 11 class left and went to the national championship and lost to Alabama, technology changed and the culture started to change in the recruiting process. And a lot of these guys, you don't get the 3- and 4-star athletes. You're going after the 5-star athletes, and they're getting promised playing time, and they don't really have an opportunity to bring in guys that help build a team. I can remember that offensive line. First of all, Carnell Stewart was just moved over to the offensive line the year before from out of John Curtis. He played D-line his whole time, so he had to learn a position. It wasn't about learning the position. It was about, I'm going to beat the guy over me. Us 5 offensive linemen up front, we're going to win our up-front battle. And you don't see that around there right now. And I was vocal about that. I was, a couple of the guys like Christian Lockature and a few of those guys were asking me. They ask me questions every time I come around and call me on. What's up, Bonk? How you doing? They crack jokes and, they enjoy my company being around there, and I enjoy them as well. But it's a lot of individualism going on around LSU. So if your question is, why is the team not winning and what's going on with the program, I think that's it. And it's not to bash them. I think Coach Ed Ogeron has an opportunity to fix the culture back around there, keep Louisiana first. That's the key. Our class, we had, 90% of our class was from Louisiana. So that's what's going on with LSU. I'm enjoying the new gig. I really love all of our affiliates that we have. I love going on radio each week, doing the pregame and postgame, and going up to the press box and watching the games, and it's really, for me, for a young man in broadcasting, this is my 3rd year doing this is a blessing. So I really appreciate the opportunity and hopefully grow from there. So with that being said, any questions? Ladies first.
Do you think that the team meeting that they had has had an effect? Have you noticed any change from that?
Well, team meetings are always good, and depending on, I did hear Coach O said that the guys were fired up about this week. So a loss to Troy, this is the worst in 17 years. So hopefully it's a wake-up call for the players. But I think it may have made an effect. I really do.
Hey, Big Fave.
What up, Bob?
Hey, I want to thank you for picking me for winning that picking contest. So anyway,
Luck of the draw.
ever since Ed took over, the first thing he said is, hey, we're going to change practices. We're going to make them shorter and faster, whatever. And his reasoning was so they can be fresher in the game. But what I've noticed in both the Mississippi State game, even in the Syracuse game, and definitely in the Troy game, the defense and even the offensive guys are gassed by the third quarter. I mean, they're just out of gas. So has that had an adverse effect, do you think?
I don't
Shorter practices and stuff?
From my experience, and I'll be completely honest with you, since we're talking practice in my Allen Iverson voice, practice, we're talking about practice. Now, but honestly, when Coach Saban was there, practice was like that. It really was. We were out there 2 hours max, and I really think that really helps. When Coach Miles was there, man, we could be out there 3-4 hours. So it does wear and tear on the body. We had a lot more injuries. What's going on, and that's why I open with this, it goes back to the recruiting. We don't have all those offensive linemen to rotate in or all that depth. We don't have, I can remember rotating 9, 10 defensive linemen up front to keep fresh legs. They don't have that, so those guys are gassed. And the system that they run now up front, I'm not, and this is just my opinion, part of me is still a little old school. I'm not a fan of a standing up defensive end and two guys have their hands in the dirt and like the other two guys on the edge standing up. If you have the personnel for that, you had another Arden Key on the other end, that would be different. But I think with this, especially about to go through this SEC gauntlet, I really think that, 4 down linemen and try to find a way to rotate 8 so the legs are fresh. That's how we were. We had rotation. Me and Glenn will go in first, and then Charles and Ricky will come in, and then Drake Nevis and L. Woods, and we just had that rotation. So every time you got a player in there, we were fresh. So it's the lack of, to answer your question, they don't have the depth that they usually have, and that's why the guys are gassed. Okay,
and the last thing, I graduated from Louisiana Tech, and we have a new recruiting mantra, is that we play at Sun Belt teams, but we beat them.
Man. Ooh. And to be honest with you, and I'm pretty sure you're referring to the Troy game. Man, we've played Troy tough the last few years here. With 2004, that was my first year there, my redshirt year. I can remember 2 defensive ends, one for LSU and one for Troy. You had DeMarcus Ware over there. He went first round, first pick to Dallas, and then Dallas took their second pick in Marcus Spears. So we beat them by 6 points. My senior year, my 5th year, the 08 season that Mr. Kim was talking about, Troy was beating us by 31 points. We had to adapt and adjust. That's the name of the game for them, and we were able to squeeze on back. And I get teased about that game all the time. 2 of my NFL teammates, one was Deion Gales, a local guy from right here in New Orleans, graduated with me. He played with me in Kansas City. Man, we were supposed to beat y'all, right? And I said, yeah, bro, y'all had us on the ropes. And then, of course, Jordan Calvin out of Baton Rouge, he was with me in Philly, so they always talk about that game. But Troy always had really good athletes. They do.
Hey, Big Fave. I was in Baton Rouge yesterday, and in one of the interviews, we only got to talk to a couple of players, but Devin White said, I think this is pretty close to exactly what he said. There are some guys in here who don't understand what it takes to be an LSU Tiger and what it means to the state of Louisiana. Do you think that's what he was referring to, some of the things that you're talking about?
Absolutely, I really do. You have to know the culture. It was the guys that even came from Florida that knew the tradition around here. And again, guys, I really think this is what it is. Guys are being told by however the recruiting pitch goes, come to LSU. Look at the guys we have in the NFL. You do the tours, see all of these guys, you can have that opportunity. So it's more of a 3 and out deal. So you don't really have a chance to really, and I'm not picking on my John Curtis guy here. I mean, I really love this kid and his family, but I felt like Malachi Dupree should have came back another year to develop and give himself an opportunity to have a better opportunity. But I'm pretty sure he went there with the mindset of 3 and out. So, top recruit coming out of high school, getting all the perks, you get to LSU, they didn't really have a chance to. Leonard Fournette and Malachi Dupree and Tre'Davious White and all these guys, they didn't have an opportunity to play in any BCS bowls. Outback Bowl here, Texas Bowl there. So that's because they didn't really have a chance to get team chemistry, and the goal was, which should be the goal for everyone, to go to the NFL. But let's finish school first. Let's fully develop. The NFL is going to always be there. It's a draft each year. Each year is a couple of hundred guys that's going to be new. Somebody's going to have to get cut. But if you're at LSU, take advantage. Any more questions? What's up, big dog? How you making out? Good to see you.
My question is, as a Tulane fan, we're always looking for winners. LSU fans seem to become complacent about winning, and the two things I was thinking of the night when I saw the score Saturday night was the UAB game. And then, of course, Saban left, and he had the UL Monroe game. 2 bad losses, 5 championships since then. So I think LSU fans tend to jump off the ship without putting on a life preserver. You got to give the man time. You got to make it his team. He's changing it. What do you think?
I agree with you. I think time heals all. I think that that Ed Ogeron is fully qualified for that position. I think his time under Pete Carroll played a major role in that. And being an interim head coach before, now he has an opportunity to do it. So he just has to mold his team. He's only playing. It's almost like this, y'all. Any card players in here? Man, no card players? Okay. Anywho, like playing a game of spades, right? And someone gets up from the table and say, "Hey, I have to go run to the store. You'll take over my hand?" And then you just sit down like, "Oh, this is all you have?" So you're gonna have to wait till the next game in order to get the cards that you want dealt to you, if you get my point. I hope that was a good analogy. Was that good enough? But in order to get and that's what he's dealing with right now. I think the team is loaded with potential. I think we can get some wins down here. I hope we don't not be bowl eligible, but I mean, it's just you're gonna have to ride the wave. But I think he's qualified, and I think the future of LSU is going to be nice. Of course, now with him being able to take fully over with the recruiting. Now, because last year, Coach Miles, it was some of the guys when Coach Miles left, they left. A lot of transfers, tons of quarterbacks that, 2 years I'm not on the field, and rightfully so. I understand where they're coming from. I want to go somewhere where I can have an opportunity to live my dream. So I think LSU will be fine in the years to come. Hopefully, get some things in order before this year's up.
Ken's introduction mentioned you played for 11 teams. That's a testament to your persistence and wanting to play football, and also what Coach Curtis said about the value of the game is not just the score. So can you touch on that a little bit about what that meant to you, trying to play it 11 times, and being not traded or rejected? It's probably a good lesson for the young people that are here too.
And that's a really great question, and I want y'all to hear this. Life's about humility. It really is, and I'm personally, in my personal life, I'm experiencing humility right now as we speak. It's a test all the time. Life has a lot to do with humility. You're going to go through. I did not know this. I didn't know that I wasn't going to get drafted. I didn't know that I wasn't, going to be on one team. And know that God has a plan for you. Like at first, okay, and it's actually 14 teams total. I did 11 NFL, of course, 2 UFL, and lastly with the New Orleans VooDoo. Me and my boy Bob go back like 4 flats, did a couple movies together too. Hello, somebody. But anywho, man, kids, I really want y'all to get this message. No, don't ever give up. Don't give up. Know that what you're going through is for a reason. I didn't know that. Now it's a plethora of knowledge. I know about Bill Belichick's playbook. I know about Sean Payton's playbook. Played with Jim Moore. Now I had an opportunity to sit in a lot of different locker rooms and meet different players and different coaching systems. Now I have my own company, Conquer Sports Pros, and now I can send that information on to young men like yourself and young ladies like yourself to help y'all take y'all career to the next level. So don't get down. If you lose a game, you don't go to the school that you want to go to, know that God has an ultimate plan for you. And in life, you're gonna experience true humility, but it's only for the growth. It's only for the growth. So if it's anything to get out of that, yes, it was a challenge. It really was to bounce around the league. Basically lived on a plane, not knowing what my next move was going to be. And I decided to retire in 2015. And I see the true plan now. Being in broadcasting now and being able to help young men take their careers to the next level. That's the plan I think God had for me. It wasn't about. I didn't make millions in the NFL. I had a chance to win some championships and play on some good teams and meet some good but my plan was totally different. I thought I was going to go there and make millions. I'll just be completely honest with you. Go there and make millions, and my boy, he'll tell I was coaching at De La Salle, we get a call from the Redskins to go back. And I'm thinking, oh, it's my shot. God said no, but now it makes sense now. You know, what I'm doing now in my life, and you know, I can answer any defensive questions. I can do consulting work in college and pro and in high school, because that's what it was about for me. So I know it was a little lengthy, but man, that was a great question. Cool
Thank
question.
you.
Boy right there.
Actually, I don't have a question. I'm going to tell a story about you since you brought it up. So my name's Tony Bernard, I'm athletic director at De La Salle. Marlon mentioned a few times about him coaching with us. And he just mentioned, and I think it's a great story for you guys to hear. I just told our president, Mr. Jambaluka, this story the other night. When Coach Manali was our first year coach, our current coach, he had brought Marlon in. Marlon was still, he didn't know if he was going to get another chance or not. He came over and he was working with us, with our kids in the fall, and it was a crazy time. Marlon could probably tell a lot of crazy stories about that time on the staff. But I was in two roles at the time. I was the disciplinarian and I was the athletic director. I'll never forget this. I'm in the discipline office and it's about 1:30 in the afternoon. Marlon comes in through the side door. He had been running on St. Charles Avenue trying to stay in shape. He was soaking wet in sweat, and he came to my door nervous because I was kind of his boss, I guess, a little bit nervous. He said, Coach, he was stuttering. He said, I don't know what, he says, my agent just called me. They want me to go to Washington. This is late August, I guess, training camp. He said, they want me to go to Washington, and I'm sorry, I think I'm going to have to. I said, well, Mark, I said, this is great news. I said, when do you need to leave? He said, they want me on a plane in an hour. I said, well, get the heck out of here. And then Ryan Manali came up, and we were all kind of celebrating for a second. Funny part, two funny parts to me, or one funny part went good. Marlon walks off, and he comes back to the doorway. He says, Coach, I don't have any money to get on a plane. So we actually passed the hat, collected enough money so he could get to the airport and get on that plane. I want to finish the story. There was a hurricane that hit while he was away. And, well, two things about it. Marlon went, and I'm telling you, maybe I'm exaggerating about an hour, maybe it was 2 hours.
I think it was about 1.5.
Okay, he said, I need to talk to these kids before I leave. I need to talk. So it was right at the end of the school day. Marlon went into the locker room, gave one of the greatest speeches he ever, to our kids about living your dream, how disappointed he was to move on. He was actually very disappointed. He was torn about this. To finish the story, he got cut on the last cut, and there had been a hurricane that was going on in New Orleans. And so we were scrambling to find a field, and it was a late afternoon. We were actually at Gerard Playground practicing, and Marlon walked out onto the field, and we wasn't even back in school yet. And I said, Marlon, I hugged him. I said, it's great to see you. I said, except I'm sorry, I said, no, I actually asked you. He said, yeah, Miss Mark, I cut on the last cut. And I said, oh, yeah, I'm sorry. He says, oh, no, I'm so thankful to be back. And I said, well, when did you get back? He says, I just got off the plane. I said, you just got off the plane? He said, yeah. He literally went from the plane. He found out where practice was, and he was back with us, working out with the kids that day. I think it speaks to his character and a little bit about the journey also, how difficult that journey was. I just wanted to let you guys know.
Man, thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Thank y'all so much for having me.